Well, Nipsey's friend Cowboy, we did an interview with him.
Right.
And Cowboy took the stand.
Okay.
So the situation happened like this. Nipsey and Cowboy were hanging out in the parking lot in front of his store.
Right.
And Eric Holder walked up to Nipsey to go talk to him. And Cowboy even said, as he was walking up, Nipsey said, I wonder how this is going to turn out.
When the car pulled up and they hit that corner, and when Nip asked Renpaul, is that shitty? And Renpaul like, yeah. And he didn't really say it to nobody, but I distinctly remember saying, I wonder how this going to unfold. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the exact words, like, I wonder how this going to unfold. Oh no, I wonder how this is going to play out, something like that.
They went and talked, and Nipsey said, hey, man, they knew each other. She's like, hey, man, I had heard that there's some paperwork on you. I hadn't seen it myself. I'm just letting you know that's the word that's going around. So if it's not true, you should get that taken care of. Eric was like, oh, man, people always hating on me, this, that, and the third. But it was a positive conversation. They shook hands afterwards. Cowboy went into the store. Eric left. And then while Cowboy was in the store, Eric came back and shot and killed Nipsey.
That must not have been a healthy conversation then, because if the homie putting you up on something and letting you know you need to fix it, and we shake hands and you walk away, I go in the store, then come out, now here you coming back at me to shoot me, what the fuck wrong with him?
Well, because of that conversation, and because the word was always that, Nipsey called him a snitch, and that's why he ended up killing him.
Okay, and that's what it got to be. Man, this motherfucker talking to me like that, but he actually came to holler at Nipsey to say, man, why you telling niggas I'm a whoop-whoop? You know what I'm saying? So that conversation could have went anyway.
Yeah.
But here or there, I mean, the only person know that conversation is Cowboy.
Right, Cowboy. And there's another guy also who named Renpaul who ended up not testifying.
Right.
But what had happened was, because of that conversation, because Cowboy had so much love for Nipsey, he felt it was important for him to take the stand and explain to everyone just what that conversation was.
Right.
He didn't see Nipsey get killed. The gunshots happened when he was in the store. He ran out, and he was the first person to grab Nipsey's body as he was dying. But he took the stand. Cowboy himself is a Rolling 60s Crip.
Right.
In fact, he's the one that brought Nipsey, you know, on the set. And a lot of people were really upset with Cowboy for taking the stand. He even said that people were hating him more than Eric Holder. Well, you know what I'm saying?
A lot of these young cats today don't understand. The Cowboys say he the one killed my homeboy.
No.
Okay, so if he didn't point to that person that's sitting at that desk with the suit on and say, he the one did it, I saw him do it. If he ain't talking like that, what did he snitch on? That I heard a conversation? Basically saying that they talked and shook hands and walked away. Mm-hmm. So anything after that, I don't know what the fuck happened really.
Right.
What did he snitch about?
Yeah, he didn't see him running off, nothing. Like, it was like gunshots, he ran outside. That's what he saw. But, listen, to me, I told Cowboy that I support his decision. I feel he did the exact right thing. And I would hope that if someone did something to me, that one of my friends would step up and try to explain what had happened.
And it's crazy because they put that sticker on everybody. Say, for instance, my homeboy, I'm sitting here watching this dude just killed my daughter. Now I go to court and I say, I sit here, watch this man kill my daughter, stab my daughter. I'm a snitch?
Yeah, to some people you are, which is so dumb in my opinion. But then again, I'm speaking as an outsider who's not a gang member, who's not a street guy.
You don't have to be an outsider. You just have to be somebody that understand what the fuck it is. Like with these boss guys, and they getting out here, everything comes with circumstances. And what is the reason why this happened or that happened? People don't understand that shit. And, they just got that label right here, and everybody, it's 1 million motherfucking gang members on this planet. It's 999 100,000 that's gangsters. How many of them you think that got a good relationship with a police officer on that force in their city?
Most.
Okay, if you grew up gang banging, that captain, sergeant, or whatever used to run the streets. You got a good rapport with him. You cool with him. Do that make him a motherfucking rat because he cool with that one police officer? Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to me. And one of the guys that got shot in that incident who didn't die, Kerry Lathan, who I interviewed. You know, Big U actually put us on the phone with each other. Okay. Because at the time, they were trying to put Kerry back in prison. He had just gotten out. He had just done like 30 years or something.
Oh, they giving him a violation. Wrong place.
They were trying to violate him for like, you know, being associated with gang members and everything else like that. Ultimately, he got dropped. Ultimately got dropped, and hopefully our interview helped to, you know, proliferate that. But Kerry Lathan, who was forced to take the stand, got on the stand and said, I don't know nothing. He said, is that you in the video? I don't know. He literally just denied knowing a single thing.
Okay.
And because he, I guess, was gang related himself.
Right.
You know, and the other guy who was right there next to Cowboy, Rimpau, who was basically forced to take the stand, refused to do it. And I believe that there was like a warrant for his arrest, which they ultimately ended up dropping. Okay. But Rimpau was one of the pallbearers in Nipsey's funeral. You know, this is how close they were, but he refused to take the stand. Right. So Cowboy was the only one who did it, essentially. You know, there was a couple other civilian, you know, like a mother and like this, you know, middle-aged guy who ended up talking about it. But in terms of the people around Nipsey, only one person actually took the stand on his behalf in the situation. And look, it ultimately worked out, but that lack of cooperation could have potentially allowed Eric Holder to get a much lesser charge.
Right. It could have.
It could have. If let me put it like this. Let me put it like this. If Eric Holder had a real lawyer, if someone put up $500,000 for Eric Holder's defense,
he'd have had action.
He would have potentially gotten a manslaughter or whatever, because leading up to, because, you know, we went into this case, you know, Mo Ganga, which is one of the lawyers that comes on Vlad TV and explains things. He explained what the defense was. Listen, Eric Holder has serious mental issues. In fact, a week or two before the incident, he had electroshock therapy.
His lawyer is going to try to do is basically argue a mental state defense and say that attempted murder or murder is not the right charge here, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. If you look at what was going on in this man's life in the months leading up to this incident, and if you look at what was going on just in the days before, including significant mental health issues that were treated by multiple manners, you know, he's not just getting diagnosed and he's not just seeing somebody. He went through an electric shock therapy session to try to deal with whatever was going on inside his head. So I think what's happening, no good plea option, so you got to take it to trial. No good defense, because the eyewitnesses say you let off the gun. And so you argue mental state and you say, hey, my client just wasn't in a good place that day. You throw it to the judge and the jury and you hope they lower the charge from murder to something like assault with a deadly weapon.
That's how bad his mental condition is. Yeah. And he wasn't taking his medication. You know, he didn't really know where he was or whatever. He's mentally unwell. Your Honor, he might not even be fit to stand trial. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you get an OJ caliber dream team.
He'd have probably went to Patton instead of prison.
Yeah. That's what I'm
Did
saying.
5 years under observation and that motherfucking walked out of there.
You know what I'm saying? But he had a court-appointed attorney, and ultimately things worked out well, because I just had Luenell on here. She thinks that if it wasn't a first-degree murder charge, we'd see a 92 LA riot situation again. She thinks that people would have started to really start tearing up LA.
I believe so. They probably would have.
Well, you saw what happened during Nipsey's funeral. He had a Michael Jackson caliber funeral.
Right.
You know, the Staples Center.
I think people would have really been mad at that, but that's why they really found him guilty of murder instead of some manslaughter shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, I can't sit up here and be a hypocrite because this is how we lived. You know what I'm saying? And this is how some of these cats lost their lives using that rat word. This is how, you know, back in the days it was more serious than it is today. I mean, you got 10 people in the room, you throw a rock, you're gonna hit 9 of them. 9 of them is rats. So regardless of what the fuck they talking about, man, it's getting more serious, especially with the younger dudes today, because they don't got nowhere else to go. When you talk about a homie or a blood or crib, half of these cats don't have nowhere to go other than the hood. You know what I'm saying? So when you put me out there like that, man, I don't have a choice.